Byzantinian Emperor 527-565, commissioned Corpus Juris Civilis, important civil law code, dies at 82. 655 Penda of Mercia, Pagan Anglo-Saxon king of Mercia, killed at the Battle of Winwaed, and his head cut off at about 49 B. 606 exact date uncertain. In 1028 Constantine VIII Byzantine Emperor B. 960. In 1136 Margrave Leopold Roman trio of Austria B. 1073. In 1194 Margaret I, Countess of Flanders, wife of Baldwin V, Count of Hainault, dies. In 1280 Albertus Magnus the Great, German leader Bishop Regensburg, dies at 87. In 1463 Giovanni Antonio del Balzo Orsini, Prince of Taranto and Constable of Naples. In 1527 Princess Catherine of York, ninth child and sixth daughter of King Edward Roman IV by his wife Elizabeth Woodville, dies at 48. In 1544 King Yunjong of Joseon B. 1506. In 1579 Ferenc David, Hungarian religious reformer B. 1510. In 1628 Roque Gonzalez, Spanish Garan Jesuit missionary to Paraguay, martyr, and Catholic saint, born, murdered on orders of a local chieftain opposed to missionaries, at 51. In 1629 Bethlen Gabor, King of Hungary 1620-29, dies at 49. German astronomer discovered laws of planetary motion, dies at 58. In 1634 Johann Staden, German composer, dies at 53. In 1658 Jacobus Revius Riefsen, theologist, writer, poet, dies at about 72. In 1670 John Amos Comenius, Czech-speaking Moravian teacher, educator and writer, dies at 78. English-American Puritan clergyman, dies at 87. In 1691 Aelbert Cuyp, Dutch Golden Age painter, chiefly of landscapes and riverscapes, cows in a river, dies at 71. In 1706 Zhang Jiatsu, 6 Dalai Lama 1697-1706, dies at 23. In 1712 Charles Mohun, 4th Baron Mohun, English politician B. 1675. In 1712 Giuseppe Vignola, Italian composer, dies at 50. In 1712 James Douglas, 4th Duke of Hamilton, Scottish nationalist B. 1658. In 1750 Pantaleon Hebenstreit, German musician, composer, and instrument inventor, dies at 81. In 1787 Christoph Willibald Gluck, Austrian composer Ithig Nitoride, dies at 73. In 1788 Peregrinus Pogel, German composer, dies at 77. Scottish-American president of the College of New Jersey who signed the Declaration of Independence, dies at 71. In 1795 Charles M. D. E. Philippe Van Loo, French painter B. 1719. In 1812 Eagle Fox Simmons, writer year 3000, dies at about 57. In 1815 Johann Lucas Schubor, German composer and physician, dies at 65. In 1819 Daniel Rutherford, Scottish chemist and physician, isolation of nitrogen in 1772, dies at 70. In 1831 Vincent Mar Eck, Bohemian composer, dies at 76. In 1832 Jean-Baptiste Say, French economist, dies at 63. In 1842 Joseph Rastrelli, German composer, dies at 43. In 1848 Pellegrino Rossi, Italian economist and politician, assassinated at 61. Queen of Portugal 1826-28, and daughter of Emperor Pedro I of Brazil, dies of complications from childbirth at 34. In 1863 Frederick Roman VII, first constitutional king of Denmark 1848-63, dies at 55. In 1889 Ambrose Dudley Mann, American diplomat, dies at 88. In 1892 Thomas Neil Cream, Scottish-Canadian serial killer Lambeth poisoner, is executed at 42. In 1897 John Mercer Langston, first African-American to hold U.S. political office, dies at 67. In 1907, Horatio Richmond Parma, American composer and choir director, dies at 73. Empress Dowager of the Qing Dynasty 1861–1908, dies at 72. In 1910, Wilhelm Rab Jakob Corvinus, German author Der Handelspaster, dies at 79. In 1913, Camille Armand Jules Marie de Polignac, French army officer who fought in U.S. Civil War for Confederate Army, dies at 81. In 1916, Henryk Sienkiewicz, Polish author Quo Vadis, Nobel 1905, dies at 70. In 1916, Luis Muoz Rivera, Puerto Rican journalist, founded Federalist Party, dies at 57. French sociologist de la Division du Travail Social, the division of labour in society, dies of a stroke at 59. In 1917, Oswald Chambers, Scottish Baptist and Holiness Movement minister and writer My Utmost for His Highest, dies at 43. In 1918, Georges Antoine, Belgian pianist and composer, dies at 26. In 1919, Alfred Werner, Swiss chemist, Nobel 1913, dies at 52. In 1919, Mohammed Farid, an influential Egyptian political figure. In 1924, Arthur de Sacagera Freire Cabral, Portuguese aviator, first flight across the South Atlantic, disappears flying over the English Channel at 43. In 1928, Thomas Crowder Chamberlain, American geologist and educator, dies at 85. In 1931, C.A. J. van de Hoek, Dutch publisher, dies at 68. In 1933, F.I. Jarvis, Australian cricket wicketkeeper, 11 tests, 18 dismissals, South Australia, dies at 73. In 1934, Anton Driesman, German-Dutch manufacturer of rim Driesman, dies at 80. In 1938, George Glover, cricketer, test for South Africa 1895–96, dies. In 1944, Martin Richlin, resistance fighter, executed. American actor, It's a Wonderful Life, Dr. Kildare Films, Key Largo, dies at 76. In 1955, Lloyd Bacon, American stage, silent, and sound screen actor, Charlie Chaplin Films, and director, 42nd Street, Newt Rockney, All-American, dies of a cerebral hemorrhage at 65. In 1958, Tyrone Power, American actor, The Mark of Sorrow, Nightmare Alley, dies of a heart attack at 44. In 1959, Alex Kennedy, cricketer, 31 WKTS in 5 tests for England 1922–23, dies. In 1961, Douglas Walton, Canadian-American actor, Badlands, dies of a heart attack at 51. In 1961, Elsie Ferguson, American actress, Footlights, Scarlet Pages, dies at 78. In 1961, Johanna Westerdijk, Dutch botanist and Netherlands' first female profligate, 1917–52, dies at 78. 1963, Frederick Fritz Reuner, Hungarian-American conductor, Cincinnati Symphony, 1922–31, Pittsburgh Symphony, 1938–48, Chicago Symphony Orchestra, 1953–63, and educator, Curtis Institute, dies of pneumonia at 74. In 1963, Linus McAtee, American Hall of Fame jockey, Preakness Stakes 1916, Kentucky Derby 1927–29, U.S. champion jockey by earnings 1928, dies at 65. In 1965, John Geoghegan,